Homeschooling has become a way of life of educating ourselves. It's teaching our kids how to educate themselves and how to stand up for themselves and really reach for that purpose in their life and that mission and vision of what they're going for. Hey friends, we're joining today because we're going to talk about why in the world did we start homeschooling? Fonseca family. Why did we start? It's kind of a hugely long story, but to make things shorter, I'm going to tell you that we didn't originally plan to homeschool. We did think that we were going to do some preschooling with our kids to send them to public school all prepared, We're going to teach them the sounds and colors and all those things so that when they started school, they would be totally ready to go and we wouldn't feel like we were bad parents. And they would also feel really confident in going to school that way. We decided, around 18 months, 2 years old, we would start doing some education at home just to get them prepped. But the thing was, when our first child right before he turned 2 years old, we moved to Puerto Rico. And this was our first time out of the States, living outside of the United States. And it was a great experience and also a really difficult experience. For anyone that's lived outside of where they've grown up, you know that there's a lot of changes and a lot of adapting and a lot of newness to it. You have to pivot and change a lot. So when we first moved, we thought, it was so hard on our son that we thought, we'll keep him home for a little bit just until he gets used to things, makes some friends, and then we will think about putting him into a school later. Now, of course, we're learning Spanish at the same time, and we are getting to know people, but as we started doing school at home and we started our own co-op and things like that, we started noticing that our son had some struggles in some areas, especially in areas of reading and writing. As we learned more about it, we realized that this was probably going to be a struggle he's going to have to deal with for most of his life because of the way his brain processes information. And so we decided, we're going to keep him home and really get these things, get his reading and writing down really strong so that when he goes into public school or private school, he's going to be totally confident and not feel like he's behind, like he has a disability, because we really didn't believe in disability. We just believed in different learning styles. When we started using homeschool, not only to overcome struggles, to shape it around our children and what they needed, but also as an anchor, because not long after moving to Puerto Rico, we moved to Peru, and then we moved to El Salvador, and so on and so forth. So for about 10 years there, we were moving quite frequently, usually to a different country, if not within the same country, but still moving around quite a bit. And we noticed that through these transitions, homeschooling, keeping that as an anchor for our kids was really, really, really helpful for their self-esteem, for the way they felt about life. They felt like they could count on certain things. That's why we started out. We started out because we wanted to be prepared for our kids to go into school already feeling confident. But we also realized after not too long that our first son was going to have some struggles, and later on as we had more kids, each one had their own way of learning. We had some more that had some difficulties with things. So that was a huge help when we were homeschooling, because we were able to adapt and tailor their curriculum exactly to what they needed. And also as that anchor, because we were moving around constantly, there were so many other changes going on, we could keep that one thing as a constant. But as we continued to homeschool, the reason we kept at it, because after a while we did get settled a little bit more, and we were in places for longer, and then we came back to the US, and we've been here for several years now, and things got more settled. And so we thought, well, maybe we should put our kids in school. But one thing that kept us homeschooling was the fact that we were totally in control of our own education and our own learning and our own family life and our own schedule especially. We could go on vacation whenever we wanted. We were totally free to live life as we wanted to live. And that was the biggest reason we kept homeschooling, because It was so flexible and so adaptable. Each time an issue came up with one of the kids, we just adapted their curriculum to them. We adapted the way they needed to learn. We adapted the timing of things, whatever they needed to be able to succeed. And also for our family, we could adapt the timing to however we wanted to. When we wanted to go travel, when we wanted to go see family, when my husband had a super busy work schedule, we could adapt our family time around what he needed for his work schedule. Whereas if we were in public school, my kids for several years would never have seen my husband. It would have been very hard for me as well because I was working part of that time too, and I could adapt my work schedule and our school schedule and our family schedule the way we needed to. And if something came up, we could pivot, we could change. It wasn't as drastic as when we had to count on someone else that was educating our child and count on someone else's schedule and the way they wanted to do things. So that's the biggest reason we kept at it. Now, why are we still doing it, right? I can tell you, we take this a year at a time. Every single year, we pray about this, we fast about this, we counsel about this. Me individually as the teacher, the mom, my husband and I together as a couple, our family as a whole, and we really go over, is this the best thing for our family still? And for each individual person in our family as well, because some kids really love homeschooling and some kids don't. And some kids do well at one thing and thrive at another. And we know that each individual is going to need different things at different times in their life. So we aren't just going to blindly say, okay, we are homeschoolers and that's the way it's going to be. Every year we revisit this, but every year we come back to it. And the reason we keep coming back to it is because now we're seeing the fruits of it. It's much, much more than being something that we have control over in terms of timing and flexibility and tailoring our schedule and our curriculum. It's much more than creating an anchor in our life or being able to tailor it to our children's needs and the things that they are struggling with. What we're finding out now is we've had so much time with our kids to be able to teach them one-on-one and really focus on the foundation of their education, about who they are and where they come from and what their purpose is, and our belief systems, that they are very, very grounded, that they know who they are, they know where they're going, and they feel like they have a purpose. And that's one thing I've been very grateful for, because we did try some private schooling with my son when he was young. And that's one thing I noticed we lost. We lost a lot of that foundational teaching time because we had to work around someone else's schedule, but also because we didn't have as much time together to discuss things comfortably, to be able to ask questions and go into depth on things. Also, we realized because we're together all the time, we learn how to be more unified. Now, the crazy thing about homeschooling is there's very, 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 very many pros and benefits. But there's also things that are cons. There's things that are struggles. And one thing about homeschooling is you're going to realize those weaknesses right in front of your face. All the things that your family gets annoyed about, that you get frustrated with, they're going to be right there in front of you, and you're going to have to deal with them because your kids aren't going to go off to school. You can't ignore it. And you're not going to be able to be distracted all the time by outside things because you are together and you're going to have to work through it. Now, this is very hard, but it also puts it right there in front of you. You cannot ignore it, and you have to find a solution. And I think that's one of the biggest fruits we found with homeschooling is we as a family have become solution-minded. We have realized that we're going to be proactive, that problems are going to arise, but we can always find a solution. Also, with this, that our kids have become much more responsible and much more proactive and independent learners because we have told them we are working as a team. Everyone has a part that they are responsible for, and this helps us work, like cogs in a machine, everybody working together so we can create that big vision of what we're going for. Those end fruits of our kids really becoming responsible, proactive, and solution-minded learners has been something that I've been so very grateful for. Now, of course, we are not even close, nowhere near perfect. We have our problems, we have our issues, we have our weaknesses. There are days that we just don't want to do school. There are days that we just freak out at each other. We are a normal family, but the things that I am so grateful for that I know have been rooted in our homeschool are that we have learned how to work through these things together as a unified team. And also, even as individuals, we've learned that we are accountable and responsible, and that there are solutions to our problems out there. We just have to seek and find them. And I've been so, so grateful for this. I know that many people want to do this and they feel like they can't, and I would love to help you through your journey. So be sure to like this video and subscribe so you can see new videos that come up. But also connect with me on Instagram, on Facebook, so we can open a conversation and I can help you through your journey. Because I know there's so many things that we've gone through that I would never wish on anyone. There's also so many great things that I would love to introduce you to. So we will see you very soon. And thank you so much for watching this video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.